Okay, now when you do metaphor and simile question, right, they will ask you quote the simile, quote the metaphor. A lot of you you quote too much words, you know, extra information. Now, I give you an example here, okay? If I put here, then they ask you to quote the simile, right? Okay, if there's a as what as, right, you quote from the as what as. So as strong as a bull. This is a simile, okay? But when they ask you to quote and they give you the word like, right, the simile is only what? Like a bull. You don't quote the Tom is at all. I keep telling you, right, phrases cannot have a noun inside it, okay? Now, next one. When you have onomatopoeia, it refers to sound. So onomatopoeia refers to sound, like horn, roar, all these things. Hyperbole is an exaggerated statement. Okay, so hyperbole is an exaggerated statement. Example, the sun is killing me. How can the sun kill you, correct? So when you say sun is killing me, it's a hyperbole. Okay, now next one, oxymoron and paradox. Do you remember which one is for sentence and which one is for phrase? Oxymoron and paradox, right, are both to show opposite. Okay, so they are to show contrast, to show opposite. Oxymoron is about word. Example, okay, if I tell you fate unfaithfully. So these two words side by side, right? They are a complete opposite. We call it an oxymoron. Now, paradox is when both sentences are opposite. Okay, example, let me give you an example for paradox. Okay, example, if I give you a statement like, Tom has an enormous wealth in treasure, but he has huge expenses. Now, it is a paradox. It's a paradox. Why? Because one side I put I'm very rich, right? But the other side I put actually, I'm very poor, you know. Huge expenses means I spend a lot of money. So that one can be considered a paradox. Okay? Now, irony question is what happened. I always use the example, right? When I tell you not to do something, but I myself do it, this is called irony. Okay? Now, unusual is very simple. Example, if I tell you, let me think of an unusual question. If I put the silent party was deafening. So what is unusual about this statement? Yes, oxymoron and paradox, right, Eden, are both about opposite. It's just that when they put least the oxymoron, that means I only want one word and one word, two words only. But when they say least the paradox, right, Eden, you must go and find two sentences or two short phrases. Okay, so oxymoron is only two opposite words side by side. Now, unusual and effective question. You look at the example given. The silent party was deafening. What is unusual? Party is normally very lively, you know, it's normally very noisy, there are a lot of people. But yet in this case, we use silent to describe the party, which is very unusual. Okay, so for unusual question, you just explain this way. And what is it effective in? Could it be telling you that, you know, everybody in the party, they are very awkward, they don't know each other, so there's nobody talking? So effective is to show why is the word silent party effective. What is it trying to tell you? What is it trying to emphasize? Okay. Now, the last one we have is a pun. What is a pun? I always use the same example. Now, don't think of it in a nasty way, okay? Bitch can be referred to a female dog. This word is a pun. Why? Pun have the same pronunciation, but different meaning. Okay? So, sometimes, right, a pun can be two different words with the same pronunciation. Sometimes a pun can be one word that is two different meaning. Example, let me think of a good pun for you, okay? Let me think of a good pun. Okay, a lot of people use pun in jokes, but we don't want it. So let me see whether I can find an individual word pun. Okay, one example of pun would be, okay, you know the word squid, S-Q-U-I-D? If I say, okay, don't let the squid squid you, it is a pun. Enemy and okay, yes, Dave can, but what do I mean by don't let the squid squid you? So I'm trying to tell you what, the pun is that a squid refers to the real squid, right? But the squid is also actually squirting liquid at you, okay? So if I change that, I do a visual test and I put, let's squid our way there. What does it mean? That means on the journey, right, you can see many squid and you are moving in a very smooth direction. You might be taking a boat, all these things. Can? Okay, so this is what we call figurative language. Now, to go through comprehension, let's use your last week comprehension to go through. Okay, give me a while. Let me show you the last week's comprehension. Okay, this was what we did last week, if you remember. Okay. Now, I'm not going to go through the editing first because we already go through editing, right? So editing, I'll mark it myself. So let me just go through the comprehension. Okay, wait, let me open an individual question better. Okay, I tell you what, before we go through, I don't want to bombard you with so much thing. I give you a 10 minutes break first, okay? So 10 minutes break first, you come back at around 3 o'clock, then we go through this. Can? So take a break first, get a breather first before we move on to paper 2. So you come back around 3:05, since now it's already 2:50 something. So 3:05, we'll go through paper 2, okay?